shit. This 1,000. Spin that shit. Spin that shit. Spin that shit. Shit, you coming? Spin the check and get it right back.
Good afternoon, class. This is your teacher, Mr. Scott. I will be your new permanent teacher for the semester. We have an upcoming test right around the corner. So what I need for you guys to do is get you a number 2 pencil, a pen, a piece of paper. Probably today I'll let you guys do the memo thing in your phone. I need you guys to take notes, as many notes as you can. Like I said, we do have an end of semester test coming up, and I want to get you guys in tip-top shape, all right? So today, we will be speaking on how to make builds correctly, all right? I know a lot of teachers that you guys watch, subscribe to, don't actually do breakdowns on how to properly teach. They just drop videos and they be like, hey, we put this there, that there, this there, that. But today I will take my time out to critique and break down how to build properly for this patch and the next upcoming patch for the Division 2. All right. All right. So let's break character. All right. We in here. All right, so I want to show you guys how to build correctly, all right? I'll be doing it by we're just going to do it on the fly, no pen, no pad. I want to break down the builds that I have saved, that I have made. I have glass cannons, I have balanced builds, LMGs, assault rifle, SMGs, whatever you guys want to think, I have them. And I want to go by teaching you guys the way I built it, why I built it, the ways you can do different stuff with it, and how you can combine other stuff with it to even make it more better. All right, so let's start off with the damage to elites build, all right, which is this build right here. This is my 133% damage to elites build. All right, and the first thing you need to ask yourself, what am I looking for? What am I trying to do when it comes to a PvE build? This is what we're talking about right now. We're going to get into PvP on the next one. What am I looking for? Am I looking for a skill build? Am I looking for a balance build? Am I looking for just a shredder build? Am I looking for a crit build? Am I looking for a crit damage build? What am I actually looking for, and what is more valuable to me? All right. So the way I made this build right here, it is built around damage to elites. So if you guys can see, all my pieces mostly have damage to elites on it. It has hard hitting. This has hard hitting. This has hard hitting. This one also has hard hitting. This doesn't have nothing. You can probably get something else better with that, like terminate or something like that. And then this has hard hitting as well. All right. So the process that I want to take for this, it just depends on what gun do you want to use? Do you want to use assault rifles? Do you want to use SMGs, LMGs, rifles? What do you want to start off with? That is my main focus. What gun class do I want to start off with? So let's say, for instance, with this build, I wanted to do LMGs. All right. So with LMGs, with the demolitionist, you get LMG and SMG damage. So you will go with the demolitionist to get the extra 15% damage if you have it upgraded for the LMG and the SMG. All right. So you be like, okay, well, I got an LMG. All right. And I want to use my demolitionist to get the extra 15%. All right. That's your start. That's your start. Okay. I want to use an LMG. What brand set goes with the LMG? So the brand set that goes with the LMG is the Petrov. The Petrov gives you 10% LMG damage. All right. 10% LMG damage are already on top of the 15% that it give you. So that's 25% damage right there, just from what demolitionists give you and the one piece that you get. All right. So if you want to spec into damage to elites, most of your gear needs to be rolled for hard hitting as a talent, like I showed you guys. It needs to be a talent, all right? So what do I want to do with this build? Do I want to go all glass cannon damage to elites? Do I want to spec into a balance? As you guys can see, I have a 766, so this is very balanced. Or do I want to go into an electronic build, all right? So with this one, I went into a balanced build. Now, I'm going to tell you guys one thing about going with any type of glass cannon build, you suffer a lot in something. You either can't run certain mods. I mean, not certain mods. You can't run certain talents. You're real squishy. It's stuff like that that really hurts a glass cannon build. All right. So with this build, the pieces that you see, the 766, I went with skill, power, and damage to elites. All right. So the 766, for the people that don't understand, the red is firearms. The stamina is the blue is stamina, and yellow, the battery, is electronics. So I went with skill, power, and damage to elites on this. The highest damage to elites I've seen is on the mask. So if you can get high damage to elites on the mask, that's what you will want to do. So I want to be able to use most of my stuff. Now, if you went with Berserk, just understand Berserk does not run with LMGs. So if you're thinking about making an LMG build in this patch right now with Berserk, it does not work. All right. All you can use is an SMG, an assault rifle, and I believe a shotgun, if I'm not mistaken. All right. That's the only thing you can use. So like I said, I went with skill, power, and damage to elites. And then with the chest piece, I went with bonus armor, weapon damage, and crit chance. Now, to even critique this build better, you don't need the crit chance. You're not going for crit chance. So you would kind of want either some type of electronics, again, cooldown reduction of skill power, or you would try to go with, bonus armor and health and weapon damage. Now, the weapon damage is good because it actually adds more damage to both sides of the gun. You will want to go with more weapon damage for the LMG and go with more damage for the SMG. So that helps you out in the long run. And then you have hard hitting on that. Some of the chest piece, if what I recommend is try to find you a chest piece that has hard hitting and hard hitting and harden on it. Harden gives you, I believe, 10% armor to your build. So if I had that on this chest piece, I would actually be 200k plus on armor, and I wouldn't be as squishy. And then depending on what kind of mods you have, people got to understand these defense protocol mods. A lot of the defense protocol mods only have health on it. They don't have armor. So you be stacking into health. It says extra incoming healing and armor regeneration. Now, with health, you're only gaining health. You're only gaining 2,000 to health, which is, 31k that you guys see. If I take that mod away, I'll drop down to 29. 29 is some change. All right. So you can only get health, like extra incoming healing, armor regeneration, and stuff like that when it comes to a defensive protocol mod. With the utility system mod, that will be your skill power. So that's only your utilities that you have. So that will go with, like, let me show you guys. If you go into utilities, it'll only show you like skill power, and then they give you cam launcher skill power, turret skill power, shield skill power, outgoing firefly skill power. You can only get that type of skill power. All right. So with that being said, you will have to spec into, like, let's say if you were 140 short of using a certain mod that requires 140 more skill power, you would slap on one of these mods so you can meet that criteria, and you'll be able to use that mod. All right. So then with the defensive system mod, defensive system mending, like the mending mods, they come with armor on them. So as you guys can see, you got bonus armor, health regen, and total armor. So that's where you get most of your tankiness from, your extra tankiness when it comes to defensive system mods, not defensive protocols. So remember, defensive protocol mods is health. Defensive system mods is where your armor, protection from elites, total armor, armor regeneration. That's when all that actually comes into play. All right. So then, all right, the holster is a D&H holster. It has accuracy on it. For you guys that don't know, the accuracy system was, I don't know if it's still kind of broken, but when it comes to these LMGs, you want to have some type of stability or some type of accuracy whatsoever. And you guys going to be like, well, why do you need that? I'm going to show you a certain talent that why you need that, all right, on LMGs, all right? So with this one, I went with more skill power. Easy. Why did you go with more skill power? Because I want to have enough skill power to where I can use different mods with this build as in for my skills. And then I wouldn't just be a straight glass cannon and I couldn't use anything but just the standard that it gave me. So I went with more skill power and damage to elites. And as you guys can see again, another utility mod, skill power, chem launcher. Skill power was 44. Chem launcher skill power was 274, and turret skill power is 299. So we can go in there and look at those mods again. And these are the mods that you guys seen before. So this utility system mod slot, it lets you put that type of stuff on there. Now, the main reason why I went with that one is because it had 274 chem launcher skill power. Now, the chem launcher skill power, it does not buff the skill, like it does not buff the healing on your gear. It only adds that number to unlock a certain mod. So for the people who don't understand what I mean, skill power does nothing for your build. The only thing it does is it adds the number to unlock certain mods. All right. That's the only thing it does. It's not Division 1 skill power. All right. So if it said, hey, you need 2,500 skill power to be able to unlock this certain mod, the skill power that you're putting on your build is to only unlock that mod. It's not to make it more powerful. It's not to add different stuff to it. It's not to do any of that. It's only to unlock that mod to make that skill stronger. So let's say if you had a turret build, like I'm gonna get into my flame turret build, and you didn't have a lot of skill power, you wouldn't be able to use certain damage mods. You wouldn't be able to use certain duration mods. You were only able to use what they give you at that skill power. But once you spec into more skill power, then you're putting yourself in a bracket to where I can use more duration. I can use more damage. I can use more, whatever I can be able to use with this flame turret, I can be able to do that. All right. So then that's it with the holster. And then the backpack, you would go, like I said, with a Petrov, depending on what you're going for. So if you was going for a S.O.H.K build, SMG build, you would go with that one-piece S.O.H.K to get the 10% SMG damage. If you was going for an assault rifle build, you would go get that Fenris chest piece. That is your bread and butter. So your first steps, all right, I need y'all to write this down for me. Your first steps is thinking, brainstorming. What do I want to do with the build? Once you figure out what you want to do with the build, what kind of guns do I want to use with this build? So if you say, hey, I want to use an assault rifle, right? You would think, okay, an assault rifle, what gives me more assault rifle damage? The thing that gives you more assault rifle damage off bat is the survivalist skill or whatever it is. So you would go to the survivalist instead of demolitionist. You're automatically gonna have your 15% if you haven't unlocked. So that's automatically 25% from the altogether. You got the 10% weapon damage, assault rifle damage from the Fenris chest piece, and then you have the 15% from the survivalist. So there's your 25% right there. And then you be like, okay, well, I want to make my assault rifle hit more harder. And for assault rifles, you guys got to understand that crit chance and crit damage in this meta right now, it doesn't mean anything because of the drop off that you get for assault rifle. So as you guys can see, let me unequip that, but you guys can see the crit range. The crit range is 10 to 45 yards. From 0 to 36 yards, you don't crit it's hard to crit at that range. You're hitting nothing but white numbers if you're playing against a player, anything like that. Or NPCs, you're probably just getting headshot numbers, which is the red numbers, and then blue numbers, which is the armor. And then if you're in that 10 to 45 range, then that's when you start kicking in with the crits and you see more of the crits and stuff like that. So you have to be careful when you using these type of builds, all right? So then you be like, okay, well, I want more weapon damage. What can I get more weapon damage on? So then you can get more weapon damage on your chest piece. You can get devastating on your holster. Let's see if I got a devastating holster right now on me. You see, as a devastating holster, DNH, you get another additional 5% weapon damage. And then you can get devastating on the knee pads as well. If I'm not mistaken, I probably have some on me. I probably don't, but you can get devastating on the knee pads, and then that would give you an additional 10% weapon damage on top of the 25 that you have from the one piece Fenris and the 15% that you get from the survivalist. Okay, so that will help you guys out right there. And then with the gloves, you will want, okay, well, I have Badger gloves. I want to spec more into damage to elites. What gives me more damage to elites? The only thing that give you more damage to elites from a one piece is Badger. One piece Badger, all right? And then what you guys see on the gloves is that I have health, LMG, and SMG damage. This is God rolled for me because I am using the LMG. So I have an additional 5% LMG damage on top of the LMG damage that I already had from the Demolitionist. And then I already got 15% from the Demolitionist, 10% from the Petrov. I have like an additional 4.5 or 5% weapon damage, which is almost in a sense still LMG damage, but it is weapon damage. It's not specified. So that's for across the board or whatever gun that you're running. Everybody gets that damage. And then I have the 5% LMG damage here with the 4% SMG damage. So I'm getting more and more damage as from SMG damage and LMG damage, weapon damage, and what Demolitionists give me for this build, all right? And then the knee pads, like I said, to even make it more critiqued, you have an SMG, why not get more SMG damage with a one-piece S.O.H.K, okay? So then as you guys see, that has crit chance on it. You don't have to go with crit chance. You're not making a crit build, so crit chance on this build will kind of be a null and void. You will want to go with skill power, cooldown reduction, bonus armor health, or some type of weapon damage if you could get it on a holster. I'm not sure if you can, but you will go with some type of weapon damage, and then you will go with hard hitting. So that's it with the damage to elite builds. Oh, let me show you guys the mods why I said why I have 1200 skill power, all right? So as you guys can see, some mods require you to have a certain amount of skill power to use it, all right? So right now it says I get with my chem launcher, I get an additional 3 ammo. This is one of my mods, an additional 3 on the ammo, and it's 1460 skill power that I need to have to be able to use this, right? So what I do is I go into my mods, I see what I can use and what I can't use. So I can get an extra 3.7% healing from this. This requires me to have 186 skill power. If I don't have 186 skill power, you guys are going to see right here, like in the red on the this enhancer right here, 1697, it's in red. I can't use it. Yes, I can put it on there, but I won't be able to use it. But this one right here, it has 21.7% healing on it. And I have the required skill power to use. So go for the damage. And then this one is 2052. I don't have that amount of skill power to use for a radius. All right. Ensnare heal, I do have that, but I don't use it because the ensnare heal doesn't really heal you. It has something to do with like the other chem launcher or something like that, but you don't use that. You use the one that heals. And then for this one, I don't have the required skill power, you see? So for you guys get an understanding on what the mods do when I told you guys in the beginning what skill power does. Skill power is only for unlocking these mods. So since I don't have the required skill power, I won't be able to use these. All right. So you guys can see I have the required for this, and I have +3 on the ammo. So I get 6 chem launchers. All right. And then so forth. You can do like try different posts or a drone or something like that. But as you guys can see, I have the required skill power, which is not too much, but I have the 611 and the 192 to give me 3.8 health and 6.1 armor. All right. So that's what you guys would want to do with that type of build. All right. And then now we're going to get into another build. I want to give you guys at least a couple builds. I don't want to make this too long, but if I need to make it long enough, I will, for you guys to get this understanding, because it's a breakdown video on how to properly build. All right. So now this is Lucifer's turret. This is one of the builds that I just recently dropped about 3 days ago, 2-3 days ago. Right. So once again, I went with Demolitionist. All right. You don't have to go with Demolitionist. You can go with a rifle build. You can go with the assault rifle build. You can go with a shotgun build, whatever you want to do. But I wanted to use a SMG and I want to use an LMG. So I went with the Demolitionist again. And as you guys can see, this is not a balanced build. This is an electronics build. So you see 4-3-13. So with this, we have more skill power. As you guys can see, we spec more into skill power. Now we over the 2500. So I can almost damn near run every single mod that these things have to offer. I can use every single last one of them. All right. So with the gun, I went with ignited, extra, and transmission. And then the mods are right here. You got to understand with these SMGs, you only can kind of get like one mod slot. I mean, one mod slot that can get damage to elites. But when it comes to certain assault rifles, certain assault rifles and certain LMGs, you can run more damage to elites mod. So once again, this is another PvE build. All right. I'm gonna also tell you guys how to run this in PvP, and you guys can try that out the way you want to try it. All right. So I went with ignited on here, and I went a little bit different because once again, it is a flame turret build. So for flame turret, you want to use some type of flame. You can use whatever you want to, but I went with deal plus 20% weapon damage to burn an enemy. So instantly when I drop my flame turret, you're going to be put on fire, and I instantly get that ignited buff. It's kind of hard to get flame up off of you, especially in PvP. You would get dropped quick. You would get burned through that stuff. All right. So once again, it was a damage to elites build. So I went with damage to elites, and this is the mask that you guys seen from the first build that I had did, because it's a god roll. So it's a universal piece that you can use. So you will want to stack skill power, damage to elites, hard hitting. And then you will want to use an ongoing directive. Now, a 3-piece of the ongoing directive give you 25% burn damage. So you mean to tell me that if I use the Demolitionist, I can get 15% LMG damage. I can get 15% weapon damage. I can also stack into weapon damage, not too much, but I can also stack into weapon damage. And if I run a 3-piece ongoing directive, I can get another 25% burn damage. And then I use ignited and get another 20% damage for my weapon on top of the 25 burn damage. And this was why when I dropped this build, you guys seen how hard it hit for elite NPCs and everything like that. It actually just burned through those NPCs like it was nothing. So once again, those mods, you got utility protocol mods. Now these utility protocol mods, I believe, I don't know if they share the same thing. I think they kind of, I'm not sure. No, okay, so the utility protocol mods, if you look at them, these don't have the Firefly skill power, the Chem Launcher skill power. These are like true skill power mods. They have your shock duration, your disorient resistance, your increased blind duration and stuff like that. So that's what those mods are for. But the other mods, which is the utility system, those are the ones that give you Chem Launcher, turret, and different ones, outgoing healing, extra outgoing healing, and stuff like that. So you see the mods for that. And then with this build, this one, I want with more skill power. The crit chance can go. You don't need the crit chance. So you will want like 2 things of skill power. You will want skill power. You will want some type of armor. And then that XP weak point kill, that just came with the piece. You don't need that. You can change that for anything else that you would like. All right. So with this, if it was me, I would go with the skill power. I would go with weapon damage, and I would go with armor or health. That would be the god roll piece for this chest piece. All right. So then on going to the DNH, we already seen this one. This got more skill power, damage to elites, and it has those same kind of mods. The backpack, of course, is again a Petrov, but you guys see with this one, the other damage to elite builds, I couldn't use safeguard because I was over the requirements of using the firearms. So I had 766 on the other build. This one is 4313. To be able to use safeguard, you got to have 5 or less firearms to be able to have this active. So the other reason why I wasn't able to use it on the other one, because I had 7, I was over the requirement. With this one, I'm 1 under. So as long as you got 5 or less, you can use safeguard with this build. And this healing on this build is phenomenal when it comes to using safeguard, or even without safeguard. It's a very good build to use. So you guys see the cooldown reduction, the weapon damage, the skill power, and the bonus damage with hard hitting and safeguard. This is a God Roll Petrov backpack. God Roll Petrov backpack. This is everything that I wanted to use. All right. But once again, it does not have a mod slot on it. Then you will go with ongoing directive, not mask, gloves. Once again, you need that 3-piece, which is, we just went over 2 pieces, and that has skill power and health on it. You can go with like skill power and maybe weapon damage if you can get it on gloves. Other than that, I wouldn't go for anything else. And then, like I said, a utility protocol mod, it has skill power on it. All right. And then the knee pads, ongoing directive, which would make it that 3-piece to get that burn damage. It has 413 skill power on it, 140 skill power on the mod, and Firefly skill power. Now, you're like, Eazy, you don't have a Firefly. I don't have the mod that I need to be like a chem launcher or something like that with an additional 140 skill power on it. I don't have that. So then right here, you have an offensive protocol mod, which gives you that weapon damage. So let's see if we got a better mod to make this build even better than what it is. So now with these offensive, it's nothing. It comes with nothing but damage, So you can go with weapon damage, assault rifle damage. If you're going to do like assault rifle hit damage, critical hit damage, marksman rifle, LMG crit chance, and stuff like that. Or you can see this one. This got weapon damage, LMG critical hit chance, and SMG critical hit damage. So you would get 2% more critical hit damage. Let's say if you was at 68% critical hit damage. If you put this mod on for the SMG, you will be at, if you was at 58, you'll be at 60. So it's different ways that you can add damage, and crit chance to this build and not have to fully, spec into that on your rolls on your build. All right. So you see the weapon damage and stuff like that. You can use these different mods, and they come with 3 different mod slots. So why did I go with 2,500 weapon skill power? So I'm gonna show you guys. Now, since we have more of a skill power build, I can go into different stuff. Now, this becomes, you see, I have now my chem launcher almost give me 47% on the heal. So I can even heal faster without having to use safeguard. It gives me more health. My health goes up faster. So it took 27 skill power to be able to use this. I have over 2,500. So I can almost use any mod that you can think of. So let's see what other mods we got up in here. I'm sorry about that. Somebody just called my phone. I'm sorry. No cuts, no edits though. We get in, we keep going. All right. So I have 46.5% on the heal. And then I have another one that gave me 43. I have one that can give me 5 ammo, ensnare. You guys see this? None of this is in red. None of it. Because I have that required skill power to use these mods. Once again, skill power does nothing for the skills. Skill power unlocks the mods to make the skills better. If you guys understand what I'm saying, all right? So then we're going to go to the other slot. This other slot right here, I don't have a better healing one, but you guys can see I can get 3 more on the ammo. I can have the duration longer. I can do more damage. That will be for like the poison one. I got ensnare. I got radius, more damage, heal, 33.9% heal versus 21. So now since I know that I got that mod that I didn't have, guess what? Boom. We're going to put on this 33.9 and it's going to give me, you see, 91,000 on the heal, which you can get better mods than that. And then also with the turret, with this build, the flame turret, you guys see right now that I think I do have damage mods. I want more duration because it didn't last that long, but I'm gonna just get into it. So I wanted to use longer duration, which is 2518. That's why I went to 2500. So I can unlock a longer flame turret, all right? So you got just these cooldowns in this. That's the only two I got unlocked. You can make some, you can find some, whatever you want to do is fine, all right? And then with this one, this has damage on it, all right? So with this damage one, and you will want to kind of use, if you want like a mortar build or something like that, you can use the demolitionist and you can use the one that gives you +1 extra mortar ammo or whatever the case may be. Now, if you wanted to use a spot or something, you can use the drone. You can use the sharpshooter, but don't nobody really use sharpshooter like that. All right. So with this one, that's just for the mods for the sharpshooter. But for this one, you got duration, you got damage, you got 2 damage, you got duration, and as you guys can see, the more you go down, the more weaker the skill power board, the more weaker that the mod is, the more you go up, the stronger the mod is. All right. So this one right here required me to almost have 2300. I got that required mod or whatever, and I needed it. So by any means, I went ahead and used it. But you guys see, the more skill power you have, the better your mods are off. All right. You're better just like that. So that's it with that build. With the glass cannon, I want to go into a glass cannon build. What do I have that's a glass cannon? I believe it's my MacGyver build. All right. So my MacGyver build is 12 on the firearms, 4 on the stam, and 1 on the skill power. All right. So with these glass cannons, the only thing that's kind of valuable with the glass cannon right now is SMGs. I will not recommend assault rifle builds. I will not recommend LMG builds. None of that stuff for a glass cannon build. All right. So I'm running 2 SMGs. Of course, I'm going to go with demolitionist because I get the extra 15% SMG damage from this build. All right. You don't have to go with the chatterbox. You don't have to do any of that. Now, I'm going to show you guys the guns that I have. You can't use, like with this right now, you can't use Strained. You can't use Optimus. You can't use any of those real good ones because you're a glass cannon. This game doesn't allow you to do that. All right. So the only thing I was able to run on here was Ranger. Ranger requires 4 or less electronics to be able to run. I have 1 piece. So that 1 piece automatically unlocks range. I believe, no, 4 or less. So even if you're at 0 and you just got Ranger on here, I believe you can be able to use this. But once you go over that 4 electronics, like for my electronic build, I can't use it because I'm over that 4 or less on electronics. So I went with, with Ranger and Allegro. Now I'm gonna show you guys now with my other SMGs, that has killer on it, but like Optimus, you can't use Optimus. You need to have 5 or less firearms to be able to use Optimus. And then for let's see if I have a Strained. All right, let's go in here. Let's see if I have a Strained real quick. Strained as well. You can't use it because it's a glass cannon build. And then on top of that, strain is being nerfed again in the next upcoming patch. So strain right here, you need 5 or less. All right. Now, to be able to use, I think strain was changed again for the PTS, if I'm not mistaken, but you can't use strain on this build. So you can't have a glass cannon build and then think you're going to have a whole bunch of crit chance and crit damage and just shred people down. What made people get shredded up in PvP was the fact that you had Berserk, you had Clutch, and you had Strained, when you can build around those to make it almost seem like it was a glass cannon build. Berserk is what saves a lot of builds. Now that we know Berserk is being nerfed, it requires for you, see, this Berserk, it wasn't a requirement. Now, the new Berserk, you have to have 11 firearms. You have to, so with this build, I will have Berserk unlocked. I will have Berserk unlocked, but I was suffering everything else. So I wouldn't be like, let's say if I had this build and I was able to use Strained, now with the new patch, I wouldn't be able to use Strain. Strain would be locked. Everything will be locked, and then I will only be able to use Berserk and no Strain. You see what I'm saying? So now you have requirements for that. So for the mask, I went with something that got, you know, spotter on it, but you can get something better than the mask just have spotter. But I went with crit chance and damage to elites. Now with this, you will want to go, you know, crit chance and maybe skill power, crit chance and health, crit chance and armor. If you can get something like that, a cooldown reduction. But then with the SMG, you will want to go with S.O.H.K. This is a crit chance, crit damage build. So with these type of builds, you want to build around crit chance and crit damage. What gives me crit chance, crit damage, weapon damage, and SMG damage? So with the 2-piece S.O.H.K, you would get SMG damage and critical hit damage, all right? So what would make this better? What would be a god roll chest piece? You have your headshot damage, you got your bonus armor, weapon damage, and health, right? So if you could, I'm not sure if you could, but that headshot damage, I would change it to like crit chance or crit damage, or SMG damage, which I don't think you can get that on the chest piece, but if you can, that's what I would use. So I would go with crit chance, crit damage, SMG damage, then bonus armor, you got the weapon damage, and then you will have the health. Now, if you don't want to go into health, you will want to go into skill power. You'll go into cooldown reduction. This is not a skill power build, so the smart thing to do would be go into cooldown reduction because you want your skills to come back faster. So then you have Berserk right now. Berserk require you to have a shotgun, SMG, and assault rifle. That's the only way you can be able to use Berserk. If you got an LMG and all the other stuff, it does not work. All right. So then you have your mod for that. You can put a nice little good mod on that. Now, when you put those mods on there, for like this defensive system mods, it also adds a number to your stam. So you have to be careful. Like, let's say if you had something that was, requires you to have 3 or less on the stam. Let's just throw something out there. If you had one to have 3 or less on the stam and you can only use 3 or less on the stam, once you put this mod on, it's going to count it for 4 and you won't be able to use that talent no more. So you have to be careful on what you're doing with these builds. You cannot just slap shit together and think you're going to slap something. It does not work like that. It does not work like that, all right? So then on the holster, I have Bloodlust, Hazard Protection, Critical Hit Chance. Now, sometimes you will see random pieces on stuff because of the talent and the attribute, but Hazard Protection, you don't need Hazard Protection. You can use something else. You can go with Accuracy. You can go with a Gila chest piece, with me a Gila holster, which I would recommend for this build. You would go with the Gila holster because you can get health and health on kill. So you can, you know, have a little bit more health. And when you kill somebody, you can get health back instead of just having Hazard Protection and it's not really doing nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? So with this one, I went with the attributes of 14.5% critical hit chance. I needed that critical hit chance and it had Bloodlust on it. So a lot of people don't know about Bloodlust like that, but I talked about it. All these builds that y'all see, I actually put out on YouTube. These are actually saved in my arsenal, all right? So with Bloodlust, it says swapping weapons within 3 seconds of a kill grants 25% weapon damage. So this is what happens with Bloodlust. You burn somebody down with a gun, right? And as soon as you swap that weapon, you automatically proc Bloodlust. So let's say if you was running 2 vectors, let's say if you was running 2 bullshit ass vectors, right? And you shredded somebody down with 1 vector. Once you swap, that second vector is going to be stronger than the first vector because you have Bloodlust. So now that second one is even going to hit more like a truck than the first one is because of Bloodlust. And a lot of people sleep on this talent. And then you see the mod that I have on here is weapon damage, weapon handle, and crit range. And it's an offensive system mod, but it got dexterity on it. If you guys can see, it's a dexterity mod. So if we go in here, we can see different ones. You got your firearms mod, dexterity, another firearms mod. You can use different stuff. So I would go with, now since I have it, as you guys can see, let's see what we got. We got weapon damage, weapon handle, and crit. That's what we got. Oh, that's okay. Then you got weapon damage, LMG damage, and damage to armor, which that's cool because if you're using some type of LMG, that'd be cool. And the damage to armor actually works on PvP and PvE now. So that would be good. And then you have another one with lower stats, but more of LMG damage, which is okay. And then you have weapon damage and damage to armor. And then you have weapon damage and SMG damage. You can't get all the best worlds, but for me, if I was going to use this build, why not go with more weapon damage and SMG damage? That 1% damage to armor ain't gonna really make a difference. I would rather keep, 1.5 weapon damage and SMG damage with this build to even make it more better than what it is now. So then with the book bag, you want to go with a 511 book bag. Your god rolls. This build was going for crit chance and crit damage. So my god rolls is crit chance, crit damage, weapon damage. It's a god roll backpack. The only thing I don't like about the backpack is it has protection from elites on it. It's a PvP build. So you wouldn't want to go with protection from elites. You would want to go with something else, maybe a Wyvern or a Gila backpack, or let's see what this does. A One Piece don't really do nothing like that, but you will want to go with something else other than, the 511 for PvP wise. You will want to go with something else. And then the backpack doesn't really have nothing on it. They got restorative on it, but that's really only the thing you're going to be able to really use, because other than that, you're using the firearm build, you won't be able to use nothing. And then, like I said, once again, you have a firearms mod on here, which we can go and see what we can change around in here. But you got 1% weapon damage, SMG damage, and assault rifle damage. So you would think, okay, well, what else can I use? What would be smarter to use? We already used this one. Now, what would be smarter to use? Should I go with 2.5 weapon damage and damage to armor, or should I go with weapon damage and damage to health? The smart thing in my eyes would be to go with more weapon damage and damage to armor, because you'll be able to shred that armor just a little bit more faster, but then you will have an additional 2.5 weapon damage on this build. All right. So that's it with the book bag. The gloves is there. You got health is okay. Gila, I will go with Gila on the chest piece or something like that. And then you can go with critical on these gloves. Critical give you the 8% critical hit damage. So like I said before with the build, what am I going for? If I'm going for a glass cannon, I need to be able to use stuff that will allow me to be able to use this stuff with a glass cannon and not everything being in the red. So you got critical, you got SMG damage, and you got health. Health don't really mean nothing. You could have went with more cooldown reduction to get those skills back faster or something like that, and you would have been straight. And then with the knee pads, you got to have the S.O.H.K. You got to have the 2-piece S.O.H.K, because first off, you're going with an SMG build, and you're going with critical hit damage as well. So that got 4% critical hit chance on it, and then cooldown reduction. Now, if you can get critical hit chance and critical hit damage, by any means, boom, use that. Use that, all right? You can use whatever you want to, and whatever mod or whatever talents that you want to on the knee pads, whatever you want to do. So then I'm going to show you guys, once again, with these type of builds, with no skill power, you don't have those mod requirements, so you just stuck with the stock stuff. So it don't matter what stuff you put on here, everything is going to be in the red. And then we can go over to the stats, and then you will see what I'm talking about. So you got 15,000 from, let's see, from the, what weapon are we using? All right, so for The converted SMG, you have 15,000 weapon damage. You have 51% crit chance and 64% crit damage. And then the weapon damage that you have, all weapon damage is 11.5. The SMG damage is 32. And the LMG damage is 15%. Your damage to elites is 30. And then your armor to damage is the 1% that you got from the mod. And then the same thing goes for here. You have your crit chance, lower crit chance, crit damage, because you can't really put mods on here like that in the first place, all right? And then your weapon damage is your pistol, from your pistol and stuff like that. So most of this stuff, it just depends on what you want to make, all right? Now, I'm going to show you guys my most balanced build that I like to where it feels like you're hitting with a glass cannon build. It feels like you're hitting with the glass cannon build. Let me see if I can I overwrite this? Am I overwriting this? All right, so with the glass cannon, with the what's it? Is it the LeBron build? Which build is it? I believe it's the LeBron build. All right, so the LeBron build, I think this is one of my most perfected builds that I've did. And then I'm gonna just leave it off here with the LeBron build because we kind of went over glass cannons. We went over balance, but I'm gonna show you guys an even more critique balance build. We went over a skill power build. We went over all that, but now I just want to leave this one right here on the table because this is I love this build. I made this build to the T, man. Y'all don't understand how much time I actually put into this build right here. So with my LeBron build, I want to do something different. Everybody is using vectors and SMGs. Everybody was using vectors and SMGs. People was using LMGs, but a lot of people wasn't using the LMGs like this. Now you got a few YouTubers who was making builds like this. You got your Wiz, I believe Marco made something like this or something like that. I don't watch the videos. I just do what I do. But some people comment and be like, hey, yo, somebody did this already. And that's good for them because great minds think alike, all right? So with the LMG build, once again, hey, what do I want to do with this build? Do I want to go with a more balanced build? Do I want to build around talents, or what did I want to do? So with this one, I wanted to build around talents. What talents can go with what other talents to even make this better, a better build? What can I use? What can I get away with? And I was doing so much. My mind was so racing so much. I'm like, damn, I can use this with this. And then I seen this piece. I was like, damn, I can put this with this and I can do. And then now you're going to see the masterpiece that I think is a masterpiece of a build. So like I said, you will want to go with LMG. You went with the demolitionist, but to be honest, you don't need the assault rifle. I just got the assault rifle on here. But if I'm PvPing, I'm going with the chatterbox. So I'm going with the chatterbox, and I'm going with Optimus Allegro on my tactical M249, or you can go with, the black market. The black market hit a little bit more harder, but it's harder to control. All right. And what I was talking about, no, not Optimus. I'm sorry. We was going to go, that's an old gun. I got my gyro now. This is the one that I will go with, the unhinged Allegro for PvP. Now, what I was saying about why you wanted to have some type of accuracy and stability on this is because of unhinged. Unhinged give you 25% weapon damage at the cost of 35% weapon handling. So you lose a lot of weapon handling. This gun just bounces around, but you get more weapon damage from the build. All right. So this is my PvP/PvE build, but it's more PvP based. What did I want to do? LMGs, SMGs. I got my chatterbox. I got, even though it's not a real strong SMG, but I get something out of it. I have damage to it. It has their exotic talents, and it also helps my LMG. So, I would use this. So with the mask, I went with a Gilla. I want to get that old Division 1 feel back from the post. So I'm like, okay, my whole purpose was using spotter on this build. That's what I went with. LMGs and SMGs and spotter. What can I use with spotter to make this better? I know I got to use the post, but I want to get this extra damage from spotter. So I went with a Gilla mask that got hazard protection and health on it. and then it has spotter on it. And what you see with spotter is you need 8 or more, 5 or more on the electronics. I have 8, and I'm gonna show you guys. As you guys can see, this is a hybrid 200 plus K, 50 plus K, and then almost 2200 skill power. And then you see the mod. The mod is a skill power mod, so I got my some more skill power from that. And then with the chest piece, you cannot use Berserk. So what's the next thing that you can use? Unstoppable Force and Unbreakable, which I don't use Unbreakable, but you can kind of build around Unbreakable. So now with Unstoppable Force, it says killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. To make this even more better, you will want to go with 210k armor, just so you can get a more of a weapon damage buff from this. So over time, like with you being a tank, you have more weapon damage. The less armor that you have, the more damage, the less damage that you have with this build when it comes to Unstoppable Force. And you see my mods, like I said, the protocol mod gives you health and all that stuff, and then the defensive mending gives you the armor and stuff. So you guys see what I did with that. So now I got spotter and I got Unstoppable Force unlocked. So with my DNH holster, I want one more skill power and I want more accuracy, because I am losing weapon handling. So you losing weapon handling, your accuracy is all over the place too, because the gun's bouncing around. So now you want to try to spec into some type of accuracy so it won't be as bad. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. It's so your aim won't be as bad. So then I'm like, okay, what else can I do to even, since I'm not making this a glass cannon, what else can I do to make this stronger? What else can I get into? Devastating. Devastating, if you put devastating on your holster, I believe your holster and your knee pads, I believe you can get 5% weapon damage. Okay, so I got more weapon damage now from a talent, and then there's the mod for that. I got my accuracy and my skill power. Okay, now we getting somewhere. Now I'm getting into this hybrid. So then what else would make this build better? My main is an LMG. My secondary is an SMG. What do I want to use between the SMG? What's more valuable for me? Am I maining the SMG or am I doing a LMG? So I'll main the LMG. So of course you want to go with a Petrov. So a Petrov will get you that extra 10%. And then the god roll for this, in my opinion, the god roll for this would be cooldown reduction, skill power, weapon damage, and some type of armor, like armor and health. You will take away the crit damage because you're not using crit damage for an LMG. You're steady. This build is based off of the talents that you have, the weapon damage that you have, and the mods and skills and stuff that you're using. That's what this is based off of. So you see that I have captive and I have on the ropes. So on the ropes is active. You need 7 or more, which is an electronic build. As you guys can see, this is a hybrid. This is one of my favorite builds. I'm using on the ropes. Weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown. I'm gonna show you guys why I run that and why I have on the ropes almost procced all the time. And then I have this other talent right here that gives me an additional 20% skill duration. I'm using a pulse. I want my pulse to last as long as possible. So as you guys can see, it's a lot of critiquing in this build. How long do I want my pulse to last? Do I want it to be a fast pulse and then I just, use it, burn them down, and then the pulse is on cooldown? Or do I want a pulse and the pulse stays for a lingering amount of time and I can constantly keep doing damage over time as long as they pulse? You got to think about that. So that's why I went with more skill duration. My pulse actually stays longer with this build. Then the gloves have Gila. It's a Gila glove. You don't have to go with all Gila, but I went with all Gila because I got post skill power, and then that post skill power, 15%, it goes to your skill power to unlock the mods for that stuff. All right. So I went with LMG and health. You can go with LMG. I believe LMG and skill power or LMG and cooldown reduction would be the way to go for the gloves. But we were building this around the talent. I have compensated now. What can I do with compensated? Compensated says weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. This is not a crit chance build. We only had one thing that had like crit chance on it. So now I have compensated, unlocked with spotter, unstoppable force, and everything else. Like, damn, I might be actually doing something with this build, because now I have all these talents in the mix. They're mixed together. They're doing, you know, what I need them to do, and I'm hitting hard. Maybe I don't have to go all glass cannon to burn people. And to be honest, this is my vector cheese build that I go against, like for the vector cheese, like for the shields and the defender drones and stuff. This is what I use. This is exactly what I use for this for that type of cheese. And people always get shut down by it. They be shocked by it, because to be honest, when I'm in PvP, I use the jammer pulse. And I'm gonna show you guys the skills. You guys gonna be like, damn, Eazyy done made some shit. All right. So I have the skill power on that, which give me an extra 103, and the blind and disrupt. It don't really mean nothing, but those gloves, you want to have the LMG damage, because you know you got an LMG, so you want more from that. You want as much as possible. Then the knee pads, as you guys can see, I don't have a mod on here. To be able to perfect a build like this, you won't be able to put mods on everything, because once you start putting mods on stuff, you're going to lose compensated. You're going to lose on the ropes. Because they require you to have a certain amount of stuff. So once you go over those caps or below those caps, that's it. You won't be able to use them. So with this one, I went with Providence. It got skill power. I wanted more skill power, and I got skill power as a role. And then you guys see the mod, that mean the talent that I have. Now I have an additional 40% duration. I have an additional 40% on my posts. All right. So that, like I said, you see the offensive mod. I can't use the offensive mod, because I believe one of these pieces is if I have 3 or less, I can be able to use it. But if I have 4 and I hit that 4 cap, then it's not working. I believe that's compensated, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, that's compensated. So as you guys can see, I have 3. It say 3 or less. I have 3 or 3. So if I would have put a mod on that offensive slot, it would have made it 4. Compensated doesn't work anymore. So you got to be careful on how you doing things. All right. So with the mod, with the skills, as you guys can see, I'm able to use more healing, because I'm at 2168. So I'm able to use more healing, and I'm able to use more ammo stuff, which that don't require too much, but I'm able to use more healing. You can use duration, stuff like that, radius, however you want to do it. We can do more heal. Let's say we want to go with more heal. So now I have a mod to where I can use 43.2% on the heal and 33.9% on the heal. So I get more heal. All right. But I only got 3. The other one gave me 6 with less heals. This one gave me 3 with more heals. So it's a give and a take. You know, you have to either one. You can't do it all. All right. So then with the pulse, now I wanted to build around spotter. That was my main focus, building around spotter and what can I get away with. So now, as you guys can see with spotter, this is my cooldown reduction that I have. This is I usually start off PvP with this one, just to have the consistent pulse over and over and over. As you guys can see, the cooldown is 22 seconds. It come back faster than that. It actually comes back faster than that. Like, I've seen my pulse come back 14, 15 seconds every single time. It comes back faster than that. The most duration that I've ever seen that you can have this pulse is 14 seconds. So the pulse actually lasts 14 seconds, and you good on that. It don't take you 14 seconds to kill nobody in this game. This game is fast, boom. This ain't no nomad, none. You in and out. So when you post somebody, you get to work and you do your damage or whatever the case may be. So you got your cooldown reductions for this. Now, when I see the cheese, what can I do to stop the cheese? What can I do to stop the shields and the defender drones and all the cheese? So what would you do? So what I would do is I would go with the jammer. So the jammer, as you guys can see, the jammer, it disrupts, it breaks all your stuff. It disrupts. So you can either do one when you tap it, but if you tap it, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if you tap it and you don't have a radius, the radius mods to make the circle bigger, you have to be damn near in somebody's pocket for it to even touch them. If you're like 5 feet, 10 feet away or something like that, the post don't touch them. It does not touch them. And then people got to understand too, I got a lot of questions about spotter and jammer. I've tested all 3 of the posts. Spotter works with all 3 posts. Terminate works with all 3 posts. I tried this. I've did much testing into the I've did much testing in the DZ, and they all spotter works with all 3. All right. So I got a video in on my which build is it? It might be my LeBron James build. No, it's my LeBron James build, where I did something completely different. In the beginning, you guys are going to see me using different posts, jammer posts, regular posts, and it's very situational what you want to use, all right? So if I see the cheese, I'm using this one, all right? But then on top of that, I don't need the cooldown duration because I'm like, okay, well, my jammer radius is not big enough. So what do I need to do to make the radius bigger so I can hit a whole team and shut down a whole team, or shut down multiple people, or somebody that's hiding behind a wall or something? So then you would go spec into radius. See right here, my highest one is 36.6. So I will go with 36.6 on the radius. This will even make my radius even more bigger than what it is. And then with the other one, I will go into another radius. Now, this one requires you, this is a new one that I got, but you need 2593. I'm not going that high into skill power, which I probably could, but 37.6, hey, that was fine with me. So I'm using this one got 39.3 as the one that I see that I have equipped. So you got, no, that's not 39. I'm sorry, that's cooldown reduction. So the radius is 37.6. So I have like an additional 70% radius on my jammer post. On my jammer post. So it spreads out like a reclaimer box. So I shut everything down. That's how you counter the cheese. A lot of people are crying about the vector and stuff cheese, but if you built this the way that I built it, and you used the jammer and built it exactly the way I did, you wouldn't have a worry about cheese because you shut it down every single time. All right. But other than that, man, I hope y'all took notes. I know I did a lot of rambling, but I know this video is long too, so everybody ain't gonna watch the whole thing through. But for the people who do, at least you learn some type of knowledge from this. Like I said, with glass cannons, you're suffering. The only thing that's valuable with a glass cannon is the SMG. So if you're going glass cannon, assault rifle, and all that stuff, you kind of hurting yourself for other stuff that you could be using. If you want to use an assault rifle build, go with survivalist. If you want to go with a rifle build, sniper build, and stuff like that, go with sharpshooter. Get those buffs. Do not deprive yourself from those buffs. I want to get into my stats just with this build that you guys see is everything is unlocked. My weapon damage is almost 29,000. And this is not a glass cannon build. This is not stacked into weapon damage. Y'all see that, right? So you don't have to go glass cannon to be able to do damage. This is almost at 29,000. And that's with nothing procced, except for, I believe, compensated. We had 5% on a crit chance. So we get that. We got on the ropes, to get on the ropes proc. You guys see what I got. I usually start off with PvP. I go with defender drone and I go with a post. I pull out my defender drone first. I pop that post. That post go on cooldown. That defender drone is going away. Guess what? Boom. I got on the ropes. Now my weapon damage is exceeding. Now my weapon damage is real high. So this is what you guys want to do. All right. If y'all got any questions, man, just let me know in the comments or whatever. Leave a thumbs up. I know I did a lot of rambling, like I said before, but hey, I want you guys to get a true understanding about making builds. Now, one thing I am going to say before I take off, the new post patch, the new upcoming patch, Strain is nerfed, Berserk is nerfed. I will be having builds to be able to use Strain and still be able to hit hard and stuff like that with SMGs. Berserk, y'all might as well cancel Berserk, all right? You're going to have to go straight glass cannon, crit chance, weapon damage on everything just to use Berserk, but you won't have that strain to bag up all that crit damage that you're missing. So it's going to be a suffer. I will have new builds for that. I hope you guys enjoy. Y'all make sure y'all comment. Let me know what y'all think. And I'm out.